But it's really messy. These hoes are really messy too. But anyway, I haven't done an enemies to lovers book rec in such a long time. So raise your hand if you're also an enemies to lovers girly. I have a little list on my phone. I'm very excited. Not only is this an enemies to lovers rec, it's like one of my favorite enemies to lovers tropes ever, which is the I hate you because I can't stop thinking about you trope. I pledge allegiance. I love this trope so much. I just like love seeing a character or two characters like have to admit to themselves that they're like falling in love with this person. Like I just love that so much. Everyone else can see it, they can't see it. When that happens, it's over. It's over, I'm a goner. All the books that I'm gonna talk about in this video are all books that have that trope in it or have that scene in it or the characters are like that. Let's get started. So the first one that I would recommend for this trope is If You Could See the Sun by Anne Liang. If you guys know, you know. Oh my gosh, I was anticipating this book so much last year because the author actually pops off on her marketing, her TikToks, like even her newest book. They hit so good. If you haven't seen her TikToks, go look at them. Oh my gosh, it's gonna make you want to read every single one of her books. And it's Asian. Stop. Now stop that now. Stop the violence. This is an academic rivals to lovers trope, which is one of my favorite tropes ever. It takes place in like an elite like private school. Also, this book genuinely has one of the most beautiful book covers I've ever seen in my entire life. Our main character is a girl named Alice. She works so hard in school and is like always trying to be the top student because she's a scholarship student. So her family doesn't come from a lot of money and so she has to get scholarships in order to keep going to this elite like international school. And this school is like rich. Like it's like Gossip Girl rich. Like every single one of these students in these families come from like CEOs of these huge companies, like filthy rich people, and so she obviously is like the one who's like out of place there. And it's always her and Henry who is fighting for the top spot. And Henry is like the golden boy at the school. Everyone likes him. He's really popular. He's really smart and he's hot. Duh. Alice hates him. She like resents him probably because she's like jealous of him. You know, everything comes easy for him. He's well liked. He's popular, like all these things that she isn't. And so she's like, okay, the only place I can one up him is like in academics. So like she's always competing to like beat him, but he always ends up beating her. And so obviously she's like, oh my gosh, I hate that kid. Not for long. Homegirl has no clue what's about to hit her. This is basically has a little touch of like magical realism in it because Alice starts randomly turning invisible. She ends up being a girl queen, girl boss. She tries to profit from this ability by like doing things for people. She like anonymously takes favors from people of like either eavesdropping or spying or like doing things that you can only do if you're invisible and making money off of that. The only person who knows about this ends up being Henry, and they have to like work together to like make this business work, and that's kind of how they start their relationship. This is like the trope of like he falls first and he falls super hard because it's like clear from like the very beginning that Henry has like a thing for Alice, like from the very start, like even before the book starts. That's like so funny to me because it's like elevator music in his head and then in Alice's head it's like Mission Impossible music, like trying to like take him down. That's the dynamic in this book. To us, it's really clear that he likes her, but Alice like is so oblivious, ends up getting to know him better, actually talking to him and realizing maybe she doesn't hate him as much as she thought that she did. Okay, well, I hate you because I can't stop thinking about you because she keeps thinking about him. Anyway, it is that exact trope and that's why I love it so much, and it's really sweet. And like, all the little like conversations that they would have like at nighttime, like I love that trope so much. Like a secret stolen moments, hidden conversations where they like open up and be vulnerable together, but it's like random and it's like, oh, what is happening right now? Why am I feeling this? Oh my gosh, I just love that trope so much. And there's a really good scene in this book with that trope exactly. Oh, it's so good. So anyway, I highly recommend, especially because it's Asian and I'm always partial. Always partial to Asian books. I want to pause and say thank you to sponsor this video, which is Wren. Also, I know I sound like a menace right now. I am just a little bit sick, but it's okay. Starting this year, I've kind of been thinking about it for a long time now, is try to do what I can to protect our planet, especially like as I'm getting older, I have more control over like the decisions I make in my life. And that's exactly perfectly where Wren comes into place. Wren is a simple and effective way to make a difference during the climate crisis. Basically, it's a website where you can calculate your carbon footprint by funding a diverse set of like different projects like tree planting, mineral weathering. All you have to do is answer a few questions about your lifestyle and then it literally calculates your carbon footprint for you, which if you don't know what carbon footprint is, I learned about it back in middle school, the amount of carbon that you use like your everyday life. So important information to know. It gives you tips about how to reduce your carbon footprint and then you can fund these projects in order to offset what's left after reducing. Does that make sense? You'll get monthly updates from the projects that you support. You see exactly where your money's going to. It will take a lot to end the climate crisis. Can start helping today by learning more at wren.co. One of the projects that I think is really cool cool is the Clean Cooking Fuel for Refugees project. This project is helping settlements in northern Uganda by purchasing waste products, rice husks and groundnut shells. They turn those into like the briquettes so that the residents can use this like much cleaner source of fuel, which is such a cool project. If you're interested in learning more about these kind of projects and interested more in learning about wren and your carbon footprint, they have a special deal just for you guys. And the first 100 people to sign up using the link in my description, you guys will have 10 extra trees planted in your name. How fun is that? Who wouldn't want that? Thank you again to Wren for sponsoring this video. The next book that I recommend is, okay, they're kind of two books, are both like in the same world by the same author, but they're a separate series. They're I guess like companion series, but you don't have to like read all of it to like read one of them. So the first one is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Yeah, this takes place in like the 1920s in Shanghai, which is really, really cool. I love that setting. Again, another Asian book, as I should. It's supposed to be a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, except it's like in 1920s Shanghai with like gangs. It's like a blood feud between gangs, like that's what the feud is. And so we have the White Flowers and the Scarlets, I think that's what they're called. These two gangs basically run the city, and the heirs to both of the gangs, so Roma is the heir to the White Flowers and Juliet is the heir to the Scarlet gang. It's like enemies to lovers to enemies to lovers. Because when they were like 13, 14, they had a thing together even though they weren't supposed to. And then there was like this big betrayal that happened that turned them into enemies that hated each other more than before. And then now we get into the events of These Violent Delights where they're like now new adults, 19, 20, and Juliet is back from America and they're like seeing each other again and basically have to work together because there's like a threat over this entire city. And so obviously both of the gangs are in danger because of this. Also colonialism. There's people trying to colonize as normal. The tension in this is like really real from like day one because you know that they already have history, and so when they see each other again it's like always like, oh no, I hate you, but you can't deny chemistry, and they're obviously so like drawn to each other. And so it's definitely exactly the I hate you because I can't stop thinking about you trope. The tension, you can cut it with a knife. And then the companion, Foul Lady Fortune, is another one with this trope in it. I really like this one better because it's a lot more subtle. It also has like fake dating / undercover trope in it. We have Rosalind, who is a character from These Violent Delights, but now she's the main character, and this happens after the events of These Violent Delights. You would be a little bit spoiled for the end of These Violent Delights if you read Foul Lady Fortune. But if you're okay with that, she is like a spy and she like has to go undercover with this other spy that she's meeting for the first time named Orion. Kind of from like rivaling sides, except for this one thing, they like are kind of working together again. It's like that. They just have to like be allies for like this temporary little bit. They know nothing about each other and they both know that the other person is a spy from like the rivaling side. They obviously know that the other person has like secrets and stuff, so they never ever really end up fully trusting each other, especially at the beginning. Then you end up seeing them become like friends-ish. For me, the most satisfying part of this was Rosalind's point of view. You really see her have to admit to herself that she's like falling for Orion. This is another like he fell first in my opinion, and it's like really clear from his point of view that he's like whipped for her like since the beginning. He's like so whipped for her. But then Rosalind is the one who's like the least trusting. Also makes sense because she's demisexual, so like she definitely doesn't have like that attraction to him straight away. And then like it's through their mission and getting to know him better that she has to be like, oh wait, do I like you? Why can't I stop thinking about you? And all this stuff, and it's like so I just love it. It's like so slow burn and like subtle. Catch themselves thinking about the person and then being like, wait, why am I thinking about them? That's not me. We're gonna ignore that. But you know. Oh my gosh, the next book, I have it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You guys already know what's gonna happen. It's gotta be the Six of Crows duology. Mainly this one, Six of Crows. This is like the second book, but I just wanted to show them off. You guys know I'm the biggest fan of this series. It's my favorite duology of all time. The series has a bunch of romances in it. So I'm thinking about like Nina and Matthias. We have like a whole found family gang. There's like 6 of them and there's 3 romances. They also have history together. It's like kind of like second chance, kind of like enemies to lovers again. And it's like throughout this, you kind of get their backstory in flashbacks in this book, and then in the present day you see them like after the big betrayal that turned them into enemies after becoming lovers, and it's like you hate each other more. Not only are you not supposed to like each other, but now there was a betrayal and so you just hate them even more. That is like how the state of affairs is at the beginning of this book. Throughout this book, all 6 of them have to work together to like pull off a heist together. So in this book, Nina doesn't hate Matthias. She like understands why Matthias hates her. She's the one who like did the betrayal, so she still has feelings for him, but Matthias was the one who was betrayed. He's the main one who is having like the I hate you because I can't stop thinking about you conundrum, because he was betrayed so badly by Nina like right before this book started, and then he has to now come to terms with the fact that like, oh, maybe like he still has feelings for her. He is the one who has to fight the attraction. That is basically what happens in this book. Very entertaining. This book is just so good, and you guys know that I love this book and will recommend it in every single video, literally every single video. So yeah, read Six of Crows, everyone. Okay, the next book that I have to recommend for this trope. I love this trope in this book so so much. It's definitely my favorite part of this entire book. It is the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Again, there's 6 characters in this book, but I'm specifically thinking about 2 characters. Also an academic rivals to lovers, and the slowest burn you'll ever read. It is so slow burn and I love it so much. It happens between these 2 university students. They went to the same university together. They have like the same ability, and so obviously they're always like pitted against each other. They're always trying to outdo the other one. You know what I mean? Throughout the Atlas 6, see them again competing against each other, and they have like a lot of banter. They're always like picking at each other. Throughout it, you're kind of also like, wait a second, that doesn't sound very platonic of you. And then you're like, these hoes are in love. You know that these hoes are in love. You like see it happening, but the best part is that like neither of them like understand what's happening. And so you're reading it and you're like, I know exactly what's happening. It feels like that high school couple, everyone knows. Everyone knows. But they're like, oh no, like we're just friends. Like, oh my god, he's like my brother. Those little liars. They lie straight through their teeth. That's what they do. I highly recommend that. The quotes from this book are so good. Their dialogue, so good. Okay, the next book is honestly the definition of this, which is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book is really popular, so I'm gonna keep this short. It's like the fairy book, if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like the fairy bully romance book. We have Jude and Cardan. Jude is human. Cardan is a fairy. He's one of the princes, so he's obviously disgusting. Not disgusting looking, but like disgusting as a person. I'm telling you, it literally feels like a fairy bully romance at the beginning. But then there's one scene that I think of that's like the epitome of this exact trope, which is like a scene where Jude, she ends up being like a spy, and so she ends up sneaking into Cardan's room. He actually hates her. Like at the beginning of this book, I was like, damn, like he hates her, like attempted murder, all that kind of stuff. And then she goes into his room and then she finds like a piece of parchment paper and she's like, what is this? And she turns it around and it just has her name written over and over again on that page. Are you joking? Is that not the epitome of I hate you because I can't stop thinking about you? There really is a fine line between love and hate. And these hoes are playing hopscotch. It's the Folk of the Air trilogy, really popular, but if you haven't checked it out and you like this trope, then you would love this book series. The next book, I'm randomly sprinkling it in. It's a classic, Pride and Prejudice. This is a classic, everyone knows the story, but it does fall under this trope. Mr. Darcy and Liz Bennet. I mean, she hates him because she overhears him saying like mean things, but he's actually just an emotionally repressed, emotionally unintelligent, disgusting man, as per usual. But anyway, she ends up hating him, and she thinks that he hates her too because of the things that he said. But then throughout the book, you see him like doing random things that is like very confusing. It's like, why are you doing this? I thought you hated me. But like I said, he's actually just like a panicked little boy and like doesn't know how to like tell a girl that he likes her. But it's really messy. These hoes are really messy too. But anyway, the next book that I want to recommend is Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in the Dirty Air series, which is like the F1 romance book series. Iconic. So this one follows Noah and Maya. Noah is like the leading champion of like F1. He's like a notorious like playboy. They don't have a good first impression of each other at all. So like she is the sister of Noah's team partner, except they're like rivals. It's like brothers rivals. So yeah, they're not supposed to like each other. She's loyal to her brother. Her brother hates him. Noah has like a terrible home life and he has a really abusive father, and Maya is like the only one who like knows about it, and so that's kind of how they like start a connection. And I really like that part, and so you have to like see them like kind of melting the ice a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, do I actually hate you, or is that just a front because you have a terrible home life and you're actually really sweet, you don't let anyone see it? I honestly had a really fun time reading that part, even if the rest of the book wasn't that great. Okay, and then the last book that I'll be recommending is, obviously it's a classic, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Lucy and Josh, they're assistants to like the 2 CEOs of like the publishing company that they work at, except this publishing company was like, they had to merge these 2 rivaling publishing companies, and they're from like the rivaling ones. So they hate each other, but they have to work in the same office. They're literally facing each other in the office, but they hate each other. It's like a known thing. This is definitely, again, a case of like, he has like had a thing for her this entire time, but she hates him, and because of that, thinks that he hates her. That trope. The relationship is very complicated. It's like a slow burn, but it's like not actually slow burn. But anyway, there's a point where he starts like turning like sweet to her, like taking care of her when she's sick, standing up for her, and like sending her flowers, like things like that. And it's like really confusing to her because she's like, oh, what? I thought that you hated me. But he's actually into her. But he like does all of it in secret, like without anyone knowing. And this is like way back from like before the book even started, and you like discover her finding that out and like having to question everything. Yeah, I actually really like that part of the book, even if like other parts of the book weren't that great. He actually has been into her this entire time because another disgusting, emotionally repressed man with father issues. That's my type. Okay, that's the last book that I have to recommend in this video. I love doing enemies to lovers book recs because eat that up, but I am picky about which enemies to lovers I do like. So these are some of the ones that I enjoyed. My little updated ones that I've read since the last time I posted a video like this. So yeah, please recommend enemies to lovers book recommendations below. Bonus points if there's slow burn. I love slow burn enemies to lovers. Like, I know there's like a battle between enemies to lovers or friends to lovers, but I just want to say that if enemies to lovers is done really, really well, slow burn, like there's no friends to lovers that can ever compete with that in my mind. Like the best done enemies to lovers versus the best done friends to lovers, like I will probably love the enemies to lovers more. Like it has to be done well. Oh my gosh, nothing will beat it. It's so good. So please recommend them down below if you know any. I will literally give you my first Florin. That's all for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and follow me on my socials. They're all linked in the description, and I'll see you all in the next one. Good fortune, Toby.
Just need a little more sweet.